Hello and welcome to Firstpost Spotlight, where we bring you the stories that matter from across the world, shining a light on the biggest issues and controversies. I'm Kerry Johnston, live from the Firstpost studios. But first, a look at the day's headlines. Iran stages war games in the Strait of Hormuz ahead of a second round of nuclear talks with the United States in Geneva. The negotiations are scheduled to begin tomorrow. In Pakistan, at least 2 people are reported killed and several others injured after explosive attached to a motorcycle are detonated near a police station in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province. The Israeli government approves registration of land in the West Bank as state property, drawing criticism from Arab nations who say it will accelerate annexation of the Palestinian territory. US Secretary of State Marco Rubio meets Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban, vowing to deepen cooperation with the Central European nation. And a powerful storm tears through New Zealand's North Island, leaving tens of thousands without power. Flights have been grounded in the capital, Wellington, as authorities warn the storm is now headed towards the country's south. We begin with developments from Bangladesh. Just days after a landslide election verdict reshaped the country's political landscape. As the new government prepares to take the oath, a significant meeting in Dhaka is drawing attention. Jamaat-e-Islami, despite contesting the election verdict in dozens of seats, chose conversation over confrontation. Its chief, Shafiqur Rahman, sat down with Prime Minister-elect Tarique Rahman yesterday. In a statement released after the meeting, the Jamaat chief struck a carefully balanced tone, acknowledging the transition of power, signalling a willingness to engage with the next government.
We will cooperate fully on matters of national interest, yet we will discharge our constitutional duty as a firm and principled opposition. Where the government acts in the public interest, we will support. Where accountability is required, we will speak.
But the optics of unity came even as tensions linger. Earlier, on February the 15th, the Jamaat-e-Islami-led alliance formally submitted complaints to the Election Commission, challenging results in 32 constituencies. Senior leaders alleged fake votes, the circulation of illegal money, and threats and assaults in the closing hours of polling. But despite those objections, Jamaat has conceded defeat and says it will serve as a vigilant and peaceful opposition. The numbers tell the story of a decisive mandate. The Bangladesh Nationalist Party-led alliance secured 212 seats in the 300-member parliament, compared to 77 for the Jamaat-led bloc. The election, the first since the 2024 student-led uprising that ousted former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, saw a turnout of 59%. Police say 5 people were killed and more than 600 injured during the campaign period. 2 more deaths were reported in post-poll clashes. Well, in his first address after the results, Tarique Rahman framed the mandate as a moment bigger than party politics, reaching out to rivals and stressing the need for collective responsibility in the next phase of governance. He emphasized that the country's future now depends on political maturity and shared purpose.
I call upon all democratic political parties that participate in the election. Your ideas and views are important to us in the nation-building process. Our paths and opinions may differ, but in the interest of the country, we must remain united. I firmly believe that national unity is our collective strength, while division is our weakness.
Well, Rahman's rise marks a dramatic political comeback. The son of assassinated President Zia-ur-Rahman and former Prime Minister Khaleda Zia. He returned to Bangladesh only in December, after 17 years in self-imposed exile in Britain. Well, now at the age of 60, he's poised to lead a country of 170 million people at a moment of institutional reset. He inherits a fragile economy, weakened institutions and a law and order system battered by years of political polarization. And now the focus shifts to the South Plaza of the Bangladeshi Parliament, where he will be sworn in as Prime Minister tomorrow. Invites for the ceremony have been extended to a host of countries, including India, China, Saudi Arabia, Turkey and Pakistan. Well, instead of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, India will be represented at the ceremony by Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla. The PM is scheduled to meet French President Emmanuel Macron in Mumbai on the same day as Tarique Rahman's swearing in. Well, Bangladesh now stands at a crossroads. The symbolism of Tarique Rahman meeting Shafiqur Rahman suggests the next chapter may be less about confrontation and more about negotiated coexistence. So will Bangladesh's democratic reset become a lasting transformation, or just the beginning of a new political contest? Well, for more on this, we have with us Fahmida Khatun, Executive Director at the Centre for Policy Dialogue think tank, joining us live from Dhaka. Welcome to the programme. So overall then, let me ask you first, what are the main challenges that this new government is going to face?
Thank you. The new government of Bangladesh faces at least three interconnected set of challenges. First, economic stabilization. Second, institutional restoration, and third, political management. So the economy is currently under considerable strain. Growth has slowed down compared to pre-pandemic levels. Inflation has been high for about 3 years now, which has eroded purchasing power across consumers. And foreign exchange reserves, although improved, but still remain low. And on the other hand, external debt has also risen significantly in the recent time. So the government will have to manage fiscal constraint carefully, especially given the ambitious electoral promises on jobs, subsidies, social protection, etc. And the second issue is rebuilding trust in democratic institutions, which is critical because after years of political polarization, people of Bangladesh expect a functioning parliament, a professional bureaucracy, a credible anti-corruption effort. So strengthening governance and depoliticizing key institutions will be the central to ensuring long-term stability. And the third important issue is the issue of political cohesion while managing public expectation. It is crucial to manage with the political coexistence as well. A strong electoral mandate that has created opportunity for the winning party, that is Bangladesh National Party. But at the same time, it has also created high expectations among people. So the public will expect quick improvements in many areas, including prices, employment, and public services.
Well, let me jump in there, of course. I mean, what you say there, will the government be able to deliver on the issues that matter most to the young electorate in particular?
You're right. So young voters in Bangladesh are primarily concerned about employment, quality education, digital opportunities, and also political voice. And every year, at least 2 million young population enter the labor market. And creating job for them is one of the most pressing issue. So whether the government can deliver depends on also a number of factors. For example, first, the issue of economic reform. That should be the priority of the government, which will help to attract private investment, foreign investment, export diversification, then supporting the small and medium enterprises. So without accelerating investment, be it domestic or foreign, the job creation will be very difficult. Second is also the education and skills reform that must align with the market demand. On the one hand, we observe that there are so many young people in the job market, but on the other hand, there are also companies which are looking for skilled people. So there are obviously a huge amount of skill mismatch between university education or education and the labor market needs. So particularly in the areas of technology and high value sectors. So that's one area. The third issue is also that governance, which is very important to young citizens. So many young voters are politically aware and they demand transparency, meritocracy, and accountability. We have seen in July uprising in 2024. So if the government demonstrates commitment to institutional reform, to and improve the rule of law, it could regain the trust of the young people, and then it can also create a confidence among them, which will reduce the likelihood of the students or the young people going back to street mobilization. So
Right,
that's
right, right,
very important.
absolutely. So let me just ask you then briefly on a wider front, what kind of relationship do you think Bangladesh will be seeking to have with other countries in the region, particularly India?
Bangladesh in general has always pursued a pragmatic and balanced foreign policy. So, with India, the relationship is structurally important compared to many other countries because the two countries share deep economic ties, extensive trade, energy cooperation, water sharing concerns are also important. And on top of that, and most importantly, they share a long land border. However, we have seen also that issues such as trade imbalances, border management, water distribution, particularly related to transboundary rivers, remain sensitive in domestic politics. So the new government will likely to seek to maintain a constructive engagement with India while emphasizing greater economic reciprocity and mutual respect. So, a more assertive tone on unresolved bilateral issues may emerge because the relationship is going to be between country to country, people to people. So the interest of both sides are equal, are important. So is the interest of Bangladesh. So more broadly, I would say that Bangladesh has traditionally followed a non-aligned and balanced diplomatic approach, not only with India but also other countries, China, USA, Japan, and the countries in
Okay,
Southeast Asia, Middle Eastern
forgive me.
countries.
We are out of time, forgive me, but Famida Khatun, we do appreciate your time. Thank you for joining us here.
Thank you.
Now, India is hosting a 5-day global AI summit in New Delhi, drawing leaders, industry heads and innovators to discuss the future of technology and international cooperation. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is set to inaugurate the India AI Impact Expo 2026 this evening, signalling the country's push to shape global conversations on artificial intelligence.
Thanks to the 1.4 billion people of India, our nation stands at the forefront of the AI transformation. From digital public infrastructure to a vibrant startup ecosystem and cutting-edge research, our strides in AI reflect both ambition and responsibility.
Well, the government says artificial intelligence is reshaping economies, jobs and governance, and is positioning India as a key driver of responsible AI growth and global collaboration.
AI today is transforming several sectors, including healthcare, education, agriculture, governance, and enterprise. The AI Impact Summit will enrich global discourse on diverse aspects of AI, such as innovation, collaboration, responsible use, and more. I am confident that the outcomes of the summit will help shape a future that is progressive, innovative, and opportunity-driven.
Well, the summit runs from February 16th to 20th at Bharat Mandapam in New Delhi. Leaders from around 20 countries and delegates from nearly 100 nations will attend the summit, including France's Emmanuel Macron and Brazil's Luis Inácio Lula da Silva. It features more than 3,000 speakers, 500 sessions, and more than 300 exhibitions and live demonstrations across 3 themes: people, planet, and progress. Organisers expect more than 250,000 visitors with global tech firms, startups and academics.
Starting today, India hosts the AI Impact Summit at Bharat Mandapam in Delhi. I warmly welcome world leaders, captains of industry, innovators, policymakers, researchers and tech enthusiasts from across the world for this summit. The theme of the summit is Sarvajana Hitaya, Sarvajana Sukhaya, or welfare for all, happiness for all, reflecting our shared commitment to harnessing artificial intelligence for human-centric progress.
Global tech leaders including Sundar Pichai, Sam Altman, Demis Hassabis and Dario Amodai are also scheduled to attend the summit alongside heads of major Indian and international companies. Ahead of the event, Altman described India as a potential AI leader and signaled plans to expand OpenAI's partnerships and presence in the country.
India has taken a very strong lead in trying to make AI more affordable, scalable, and accessible to a citizen. And it has one of the largest structured database to leverage that. So in every aspect, India is going to play a very pivotal role in AI on a global basis.
The AI Expo features displays from 13 countries, including Australia, Japan, the UK, France and Germany, highlighting cross-border collaboration. The summit marks the first time the Global AI Forum is being hosted in the Global South, following earlier editions in the UK, South Korea and France. It aims to bridge the gap between the global north and south in AI technology. And the timing of this summit isn't accidental. India generates nearly 20% of the world's data. It has the second largest AI workforce globally and has more than 700 million internet users. So for tech giants spending billions on AI development, India's massive service economy is where the action is, and the groundwork is already visible. Microsoft has committed $17.5 billion over the next 4 years to expand AI infrastructure in India. It marks the largest ever Microsoft investment in Asia. Well, the timing reflects India's growing AI footprint, massive data generation, a large digital workforce and expanding investments are rapidly making the country central to the future of global AI. Nepal is gearing up for upcoming general elections, months after violent unrest shook the South Asian nation. The candidates have launched their campaigns today for the polls scheduled to take place on March the 5th. Nepal's interim Prime Minister, Sushila Karki, said the election would shape the nation's future and will be a defining moment for the country's democracy.
This election is being conducted in special conditions. This election will shape the future of the country. This has to give the country a way out.
Well, this is the first election campaign since the ousting of the KP Sharma Oli-led government. In September 2025, Nepal witnessed its worst violence since the civil war ended in 2006. It all began when Gen Z protests rocked the Himalayan nation over a brief social media ban. The unrest soon widened into anger over inequality, corruption and political deadlock. Demonstrations turned violent, leaving more than 70 people dead and more than 100 injured. The election campaign will end at midnight on March the 2nd. Under Nepal's election law, rallies and mass gatherings are permitted up to 15 days before voting. The publication and broadcast of election material is also restricted to the same window. Nepal's acting chief election commissioner has urged citizens to cooperate in order to be able to conduct a free and fair poll.
This election is for bringing the rampant indiscipline within limits and for selecting clean representatives to ensure the flow of good governance. We will demonstrate a fair election.
Well, the election will see a battle between the new generation and veteran politicians. Nepal's rapper turned mayor, 35-year-old Balendra Shah, has emerged as a leading face of youth-driven political change since the unrest. Shah joined the Rashtriya Swatantra Party, which was the fourth largest party in the last parliament. He's contesting against veteran leader KP Sharma Oli in his own constituency, Japa. Also in the fray is 49-year-old Gagan Thapa, representing the Nepali Congress, the country's oldest party. Meanwhile, Nepal's former king, Gyanendra Shah, also entered the election race. His supporters renewed calls for the restoration of the monarchy. On Friday, thousands gathered outside the Kathmandu airport to welcome him to the capital. Well, Nepal had abolished the monarchy in 2008, but pro-monarchy protests resurfaced last year amid economic hardship and political instability. Nearly 19 million voters are registered for the polls, out of which 800,000 are first-time voters. Close to 3,500 candidates have filed nominations to fight for 165 constituencies. 33% of seats of Nepal's parliament are reserved for women. Major parties, including the Nepali Congress and CPN-UML, feature significant female representation. Well, the stakes are high in Nepal, as a nation shaken by last year's unrest is now turning towards the ballot box for stability. Now, a real-life succession drama appears to be unfolding in North Korea. Reports suggest that behind Pyongyang's closed doors, talk of a family showdown have gained momentum. Kim Jong-un's daughter and his sister stand at the center of these whispers. According to South Korea's spy agency, Kim's 13-year-old daughter, Kim Ju-ai, is North Korea's heir apparent. Well, the assessment followed her frequent public appearances alongside the supreme leader. Kim Ju-ai first appeared in public at a long-range missile test in November 2022. After that, she attended several high-profile events with her father. She was seen at weapons tests, military parades and factory openings. Ju-ai's Beijing visit last September has further fueled speculation of her emerging as his successor. Well, she accompanied her father to China during the country's Victory Day military parade. The assessment by the National Intelligence Service, or NIS, comes as North Korea is set to hold its biggest political conference later this month. In a closed-door briefing, NIS officials said they were closely monitoring whether Kim's daughter would appear at the Workers' Party meeting, where Kim is expected to outline key policy goals for the next 5 years. But Ju-ai's journey to the top is not as easy as it appears to be. She could yet find herself in a battle against her powerful aunt, Kim Yo-jong. Well, the 38-year-old is widely seen as the second most powerful figure in North Korea. Kim Yo-jong is reported to hold a senior post in the Central Committee of the Workers' Party of North Korea and enjoys a strong political and military backing. Reports also suggest that she has significant influence over her brother, Kim Jong-un. Speculation over Kim's sister rising to the leadership have intensified. The buzz grew after a former senior South Korean intelligence official warned of a possible power struggle within the ruling family.
It depends on the timing, but I believe if Kim Yo-jong believed that she had a chance of becoming the top leader, then she would take it. For her, there are no reasons to refrain from putting into effect her own political project.
Well, in the past, Kim Yo-jong has threatened to use nuclear weapons against South Korea. She lashed out at the neighboring country's defense minister, describing him as senseless. She's also made harsh remarks about other world leaders. After the United States stepped up support for South Korea, she referred to former US President Joe Biden as an old man with no future. So, all eyes are on North Korea's upcoming workers' meeting, where the attendees and the role they play may hint at a possible outcome of this apparent succession battle. So what looked like a script from a Korean drama has turned into a real-life power puzzle in North Korea, whose image will be revealed when the pieces are put together, could determine the reclusive nation's future for years to come. That's all we have time for on the show today, but we'll see you again tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.
From breaking news to the day's biggest controversies, shedding light on the world's top headlines, detailed analysis on the stories that matter the most to you. Catch it all on Spotlight at 6 p.m. India time and 12:30 GMT, only on Firstpost.
Hello and welcome to Firstpost Live, where we bring you the day's top 4 stories from across the world. I'm Joshua Barnes, live from the Firstpost studios. Let's begin with the headlines.